Okay, I have a story to tell you right away.
Oh, good.
So speaking of 69, because we're at 69%, and this is pretty good. So I went to a Christian school, not by my own choice. Like, nothing wrong with, obviously Christians. I believe in God. If you don't, that's cool. That's fine.
It's just sometimes Christian schools, especially the one you went to, was kind of shit.
It's just I don't like Christian schools, the one I went to, because I feel like they were very self-righteous and very judgmental and not nice to kids.
And a lot of them they weren't really Christians, in my opinion. Like, they acted like they were Christians, but I feel like they weren't actually...
badass suit over.
I love it. I feel like they weren't actually being nice to people for the sake of being nice, Like, I feel like they were just kind of being, like... What's the word for it? Like, phonies?
Yes, well, I would agree with that. I'm not sure if there's going to be a dialogue here, but I thought we'd just take care of this symbiote nest real quick. So, I dropped my phone. That's a constant on this channel.
That happens on every video.
It's okay.
Anyone here? This is Black Cat's old hideout. This is gonna get loud.
But I wanted to tell you, so when I went to this school, something that was really funny was people kept doing 69 jokes. And to be fair, this is when everybody was figuring out what it was. Like, you remember in the early 2000s? When it wasn't really a huge joke before that?
But then they started finding out, like, what that meant.
Yeah, like, oh, this is a sex thing. So everybody was doing it, and I am not kidding. At one point, because it became such an epidemic at our school of people telling these 69 jokes, our principal was like, and I'm going to use the name Tim to...
Principal Timbo.
No, this is the kid. The kid that this happened to.
This is Kid Timbo.
Yes. The principal was like, Tim, why don't you tell us all what 69 means? Do you even know? Why don't you tell everyone in the school right here in the lunchroom what it means? And the whole lunchroom was silent.
Oh my gosh!
And Tim was like, it's, a sexual maneuver. And I remember laughing so hard, but like trying to keep it in because I didn't want to get in trouble. And there were multiple people and like I think that the teacher, like the principal, who was like thought he was really cool and like an ultra like religious Christian and like thought he was making a point. I think he thought like we would all be like, oh my gosh, that's disgusting. But
you all thought it was hilarious.
There were multiple kids in the class or in the lunchroom laughing all at the same time.
Were you all boys, or did some of the girls laugh too?
No, the girls thought it was funny too.
Oh, good, oh, good.
Also, sorry for playing so badly. I haven't played this in a while.
I don't mind if you play badly. I think people who mind that should go get 69.
I think everyone would like that.
I don't know, some people don't, because it isn't 69ing like when, like, you have your genitalia
Okay,
on the other person's head, but then your head is on theirs.
Yeah, it's when you're both giving each other a good time with your mouths.
I don't know, I feel like some people aren't a fan of that.
No, some people aren't, but those people aren't givers.
That's true, they're not givers.
See, and that's a
They're
problem.
getters.
That's a problem.
They're a pillow princess.
Why be a pitcher, or why be a receiver when you can be a pitcher and a receiver?
That's true.
Here, let's open this up, Spider-Girl.
Ooh!
I just love this spider bot.
Oh, because it's his daughter!
That's so cute!
Okay,
I love how he, like, just, like, has this innate sense of love for it because it's his daughter. That's so cute.
It's themed after her suit, which is themed after Ben Reilly's.
Do you think they'll continue this universe long enough, like this Insomniac Spider-Man universe, for us to see him and Mary Jane give birth to Mayday?
Okay, I don't know. But as much as I love this universe, they keep changing so much from the comics that I don't know if I trust them with Mayday. I love Mayday, and I would be very, very, very heartbroken if they messed up Mayday.
If they messed her up, yeah.
Yes.
I would be heartbroken if they messed up Gwen Stacy Spider-Woman as well. I know they're probably not going to put her in this universe at all, but if they did, I would be heartbroken if they fucked her up, because she's my favorite spider.
So you see what I mean? Like, yes, that would be awesome, but I am concerned about that happening.
If it were my universe, I would make it so the next game Mary Jane fell pregnant.
From Miles.
No,
Who will
not
be
for
an adult
Miles.
by that game.
I would also have them, because she fell pregnant, have Peter be like, oh, we need to get married. And then they'd have a cute little wedding at the end of the game.
This is very wholesome and nice. I like it.
I like when Spider-Man has a happy ending.
Well, you can't work at Marvel.
Yeah, they wouldn't hire me.
I'll tell you why. All right, well, let's do this base for Craven that we're supposed to do.
Also, in the next game, I'd have Mary Jane get plastic surgery.
I was still hoping the symbiote would do it, which is funny because by the way, again, this is one of the coolest suits out there, I think.
Where do I start?
Did we wear this before in a Let's Play part?
I think we did last time, but this is my favorite suit in the entire game.
Because Shine was in here complaining about the suits we were picking, and I'm like, bro, how can you call yourself a classic comics fan if you don't like the OG SHIELD uniform? How can you do that? You have to like what I like to be a classic comics fan.
And how dare you not like the Wolverine uniform?
I'm gonna gatekeep it, and you know what? You can't say anything to me because I'm playing as the black characters, so you're racist.
Yeah, that's right.
Even though Shine Comics is also black. Don't tell him.
No, Shine is a racist.
Don't tell him. He doesn't know.
Do you think if you're a black person, but you become racist against your own race, that you will, like, start...
Our base?
Turning...
Oh, wow, wait, oh, what?
Like, that you'll start turning into a white person?
No, you only turn into a white person if you listened to the Joe Biden, like, meltdown where he was like, on that
and if you don't vote for me, you ain't black!
Yeah, that interview, and you didn't vote for him.
Yeah.
Then you turn into a white
Then you
person
turn white.
automatically. So there were a bunch of people, actually, who voted Trump because they didn't like how they were being treated. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they were like, well, I'm tired of being followed around Walmart. I just want my groceries.
I'm tired of the police, like, always cocking their guns at me every time I get pulled over.
And I'm trying... I mean, you should try being me. I'm tired of them cocking their cocks at me. Every time they pull me over, they're like, you could do a little favor and this all goes away. It's like, bro, this is the 10th time today. You've been following me for 12 blocks.
Oh, my.
Let it go. You know what I'm saying?
I saw this woman on Reels, by the way.
I went the wrong way, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. And she did this little skit where, like, she got pulled over by the police, and the police asked her name, and she said Frida, and then they said her last name, and she said, "Go, ma'am." And then he said, "Okay, so you're Frida Go, ma'am?" And she was like, "Oh, thank you, officer," and drove away.
That's pretty funny. Although in real life, they'd probably just shoot you.
Yeah, probably.
They'd be like, "That's not funny."
Especially if you were not white, they probably shoot you.
Okay, Jill. I don't know.
It's true, though.
I don't know what's with you here and harping on that point. Oh,
well,
let's
I'm
grab
just
this
saying.
really quick.
Especially in, like, Minneapolis.
Okay, well...
Don't live in Minneapolis.
Okay, so I've got a story about that that I can only use vagueness to tell, and many people will not believe me, and that's okay. After GF passed, which you probably know who I'm talking about.
Who's GF?
George?
Oh, yes.
Nice. Thanks for helping the subtlety, Jillian.
Sorry, I didn't understand at first.
Anyways, after he passed, and this is regardless of any of your opinions on all that, because people seem to have very strong opinions for nobody else being there. Like, everybody's an expert on what happened with that, even though...
No, I was there.
Even though none of us were there. So, what happened was my friend from high school, who is not on the channel, and we were not good friends. I'm talking like during the course of high school, we probably said a few paragraphs to each other. So when I say friend, I mean we were friendly. Like he was a nice guy.
Ready to check into the Hunter Hotel?
You think they're paying for these rooms?
Doubtful. The blinds tell us they're holding all their weaponry here.
Stupid hunters. Hotels aren't for storing weapons.
I like doubtful that they're paying for this.
So the person I was friendly with, and I don't mean we had sex.
No.
Although he's a handsome guy, so but if that rumor got around, it's okay.
Maybe he'll see this Let's Play part and say, "Gosh darn it, I should have taken my chance."
I don't think he will. And the reason I'm being vague is because I feel like it would be very unfair to him and bad for his career because he's a police officer if I wasn't vague.
Oh, this is that story.
So the city of Minneapolis brought in a lot of different police from other cities to help them after that situation. Now, I don't mean to help them beat down minority people. I mean that what they were doing was trying to control the riots. However you feel about it, there were peaceful protests. There were also riots. And before someone says no, there wasn't, I live here. Businesses were shut down.
There was burning buildings.
Businesses were shut down completely.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses left the Twin Cities because of this even.
Yeah, and still didn't come back.
Yep.
Now.
Still didn't come back because the workers didn't feel safe. They were losing money, so they just bailed, and now there's no businesses in parts of that economy. So take for that what you will. I'm not trying to make much of a point there, but I guess there's a little one. And so this guy, he was brought in from a different town. Now that is not identifiable because there were a ton of towns, like small towns, large cities near the Twin Cities, everywhere.
He was brought in from Poopville,
Jump! Jump! And what happened was there were officials, and I can't say who because this would open me up to libel because I can't prove it happened.
Your hand was sweaty.
I'm sorry. Who told them, hey, you know, do whatever you need to do to get people back in their house. And when I say do whatever you need to do, I mean it. Like they said, even if you have to sandbag them.
Like they didn't want people to be outside during
Right.
that.
They didn't say kill them, but they said like if you need to tear gas or if you need to. Now I should say allegedly. This official allegedly said this. And they did that. And then on the, you know, of course, the next following days, it was like the police are abusing their power. They are like hitting people with sandbags. They're hitting, you know, they're firing rubber bullets at people. Then later on, when it was time for there to be accountability on it, there was no accountability on it because the people who helped orchestrate that behavior claimed that they didn't. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the multiple officials who got them to do that, allegedly, all of a sudden played dumb and were acting like they had nothing to do with it. And then people started using that for political gain. And this was all around that time. And the whole point, I don't know what led us to talking about this, but it was a police thing. The whole point I'm trying to say is that I think my point was there are a lot of bad police, but there's also a lot of lying. Like there is a lot of lying around the police, like even with the political figureheads who control them.
No more hunters in this area, but the base isn't clear yet.
Like there are a lot of police who are just doing what they are told to do.
And who were not trying to hurt anybody and who were fed the lie that if you do this, you won't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like they were told, hey, if you do this, you will be saving lives because more people getting out there are going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And so then they...
One down?
So then they do that. Was that really a necessary call?
Yes. And then it ended up just demonizing them more.
Right.
Which was not good.
So that's kind of what I'm saying is like, it's that whole discussion to me is always very touchy. I do not feel safe around police. I'm a white person. I don't feel safe around police because I have had bad experiences with them in the past, where I've run into cops who are having a bad day, who are very clearly looking for a problem, and that should not be happening at all. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you're
a lot
supposed
of
to
them
be
are power hungry.
You're supposed to be impartial.
Yeah.
Not like dragging an ego into it. If you do that, you should be in something else. Same with military men. I know a lot do, but it's very dishonorable to drag an ego into your line of duty because what you're going to do is end up hurting someone, even inadvertently, or ruining a life. And that's something that, I mean, some people believe you'll have to answer to later on, you know, like afterlife and stuff, or maybe you'll have to answer to now if someone decides to make an example out of you, which has been happening more with the police. So even for like self-serving purposes, you don't want to do that, but just in terms of being a good person, you shouldn't want to do that because you're going to hurt someone, you know? And I think that it's unfortunate that like things like that don't help. You get what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of people who really are just doing their best. Like this guy I'm talking about, he was like against this. He was like, no.
And he wants to be a good cop.
Right. He was like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. But a lot of people did. Like a lot of people were like, okay, well, we're helping. You know, like there's a bunch of people out on, you know, on their deck, like, or coming out here. Let's like shoot a sandbag there and scare the hell out of them. And instead, what that ended up doing was then the news cycle for days was look at the response. Now we're living in a police state. Like where, so people protest the police and the police's response is let's like shoot at you. You know, so it's very sad. But then there's always like this, and I'm trying to be careful with my words. Like I believe my opinion. I'm not afraid of offending someone. It's just I don't really want to be militant asshole either.
And
like,
you don't want to do identifying factors for these people.
Right, and it's a touchy subject to me because I think there's like a lot of points on both sides. The police should not be abusing their power, but like without police, you have chaos, like complete chaos. And we see that now. Like there's not much police force like in Minneapolis now. Like the police, tons of them quit. Tons of them resigned, tons of them retired, and...
Isn't there a place there that they're not allowed to go?
Got out of as quickly as possible. There's a few block stretch around the George Floyd Memorial that's not really safe for anybody. Like, that's just the facts. Like, I remember somebody went into cardiac arrest or got injured there, and they blocked the ambulances from helping the person.
Nice.
Because they thought that they were helping by stopping the big, mean... police and ambulatory services.
And then that person died, right?
I don't know what happened to that person. I just remember that was kind of that was on the news that like somebody was trying to get medical attention and they wouldn't let the ambulances and police in because they were like, oh, this is our neighborhood, you don't belong here anymore.
While I understand their anger towards the police, I feel like they should not be angry towards the first responders and the ambulances and stuff like that. Like, I feel like all of those people should be able to do their jobs without anything standing in their way.
Well, I also think that if a police officer is coming to help someone who's having a cardiac arrest, it's a bit different. Like, my dad went into cardiac arrest, and if the police hadn't showed up, he would have probably died because a police officer helped perform CPR on him.
Yeah, it's a serious thing, actually.
Because the police were able to get to our place before the hospital
Ambulance,
people were, you know? So, I don't know.
Time to dig up more info about Craven's family before they get here.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, contrary to popular belief, police are supposed to help save lives more so than just, you know, throwing people in jail.
Right. I think the problem is so many people, especially in certain communities, have had such bad experiences with them. And my point is, I don't even feel safe around most of them. And I'm not from those communities, but I'm not from a high-income community. I've heard that white people from high-income communities feel even safer. I'm a white person from a middle to low-income community. So I've always kind of experienced, not like...
They run the whole base out.
I don't think I'm Eminem or anything, you know what I mean? Like growing up in the streets of Detroit, but I certainly didn't grow up in the nicest area. And the only money my parents had went to putting me through school for a few years.
I grew up in a worse area than you.
You did, yeah.
And
you had worse experiences with the police.
The reason I don't trust police at all is because I grew up in this town where they just don't care about anyone and don't do their job.
Vladimir, what is it now? I could have come with you. You are not needed. I'm never needed, it seems. I think you did not want to be outclassed. That is exactly what I want. But by you, does this amuse you, father? To steal your children's birthright? The only right birth offers is the inevitable promise of death. You have us fighting over scraps, but I will take back what is ours. What is mine?
Vlad sounds like a chip off the old block. Hope he takes the long way here.
Oh yeah, better clear out more bases. Don't want any welcome parties for him.
We did miss a thing where we heard from Craven's wife, and she basically threatened him too.
Oh, really?
Remember that? Like, because I did a couple bases because you told me to, and then all of a sudden they had like a big phone call.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Can you tell us what they said?
That's it. It was just like his wife said like, hey, you have our children fighting over scraps of your empire. And he was like, yes, but children stupid, LOL, I cuck my own son. Funny, right? And she was like, no, it's not funny. Anyway, I should kill you too. And he was like, that is why I love you. Very tight woman and also very bright.
Wait, did he actually say that that's why he loves her?
No, but he implied it. Like, he liked her strength.
Oh.
In the comics, I think his wife is Calypso, the voodoo princess, who's she's pretty hot and weird.
Sounds hot.
She's very weird.
I need to look her up.
She's like weird hot.
Oh.
She is the villain, the main villain of Spider-Man Torment, which was the early, the first, what would I say, arc of the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man series, which is one of my favorites ever. It's just called Spider-Man, if you ever want to look that up.
Anyway, I wanted to finish my sentence.
Sorry.
I grew up in a pretty shit town where police, like, don't give a shit about anyone. And I was in an abusive situation for a while. And then when I called the police for it, the they believed the abusers instead of me, and basically, like, said that I was the one who was, like, hurting people.
Because you fought back.
Yeah, like that I was the one who, like, committed assault.
Didn't they threaten that if you called the police again, they'd arrest you?
Yeah, then they threatened to arrest me.
How do you threaten to arrest a minor, by the way?
I don't know. I was like 17, I think. So there you go.
And that's why most people don't bother reporting abuse.
And that's why I'm afraid of the police. And that's why, like, we had to call the police at one point when you were with me. And I stood by you the entire time because I was afraid.
That guy was very nice, though.
That guy was very nice, but I was afraid that he was going to be mean, and I was really scared, so I wanted to stand by you because I knew you'd protect me.
Sonic burst ready.
Well, there's not much I can do if a police officer pulls out a gun. But
no,
yes.
No, but you can protect me with your words and, like, stand up for me, because for some reason, people believe men more than younger girls when it comes to places in Maine.
What was this?
I don't know about everywhere else, but in my humble experience as a young woman in Maine, I feel like I have always been treated differently, like I don't know what I'm talking about compared to a grown man.
To be fair, you are a woman and you don't know what you're talking about.
That's rude.
I'm just joking.
I feel like I'm treated less like that here in Minnesota, though. Like, I feel like some people still try to...
Whoa, did you know that if you hit this guy, like, while he's charged, it starts shooting other people?
That's really cool.
See, that's one of the coolest things about this game is they did such cool jobs on the abilities. Anyway, yes?
I feel like I'm still disrespected by some people, but I think that's just because they're disrespectful people in general.
Well, part of it is race issues here are terrible. Like, race relation issues are terrible. Like, black and white people do not get along in Minnesota.
Sadly,
it's
yeah.
so bad. And it makes me sad because, like, we're one of the more progressive states, but, like, I think that we have... I don't want to out myself here as, like, the leader of the white hood group or something, because I don't want to sound like that, but I think that our school system here, it teaches minority groups that they are lesser in the sense of, like, you will be treated lesser. No matter what you do, you will never escape
That's
that.
horrible.
These people are oppressors. Like,
That's awful.
And it instills a lot of, like, white guilt into people.
And anger into minorities.
And anger into white people. Because, dude, the amount of, like, I taught at a school in the country in Minnesota when I was a teacher here. The amount of white kids who didn't like other types of people because they felt like they were being guilted for being white was insane.
Even though they didn't do anything wrong.
Right, like the amount who were starting, like you could tell they were on the path to developing a bad attitude about other groups. Yeah. Because they were like, well, you know what? I'm not going to hang out with people who like say like, oh, well, your great-grandparents did this to me, so like, I hate you. That's how they felt. They felt like talked down to. They felt like, okay, well, I am being, treated like I am a villain here, but I didn't actually do anything, so...
And I don't disagree with them. I feel like they shouldn't be treated disrespectfully for something that their ancestors did that they don't agree with.
Well, this is my problem with paying reparations to people when you didn't do it.
Yeah. We didn't do it. That's generations removed from us, and most people don't agree with what they did.
Or there's people like me. My ancestors came here after slavery.
Yeah.
My ancestors weren't even in... They weren't even involved in American slavery at all. Like, none of them.
Only one side of my family was involved in it. The other side came here after slavery as well.
Well, you should have to pay half the reparations.
I guess I should, yeah.
My favorite is when Peter Griffin joins, like, a reparations group because he finds out he has a black ancestor, and, like, he tries to take advantage of it to get free stuff. I don't even know if they can make that anymore. But it was so funny at the time. Yeah, no, I in conclusion of the multiple tangents, I agree on why people are so afraid of the police. It makes sense to me.
I understand as well.
I find it oh, I'm stuck. Uh-oh. I'm making my way there.
I find it unfair the way police treat people.
I do too, and there is no fighting back, because if you do, then you will get hurt or killed.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just, I don't know, I think that's unfortunate, is there needs to be more accountability. I don't think the solution is defund all police and get rid of them all. I think that's kind of brain dead, because like then you're gonna have these issues like in Minneapolis where all the places leave, like the police leave because you get your wish, but then it becomes be careful what you wish for, because what happens is the businesses leave too. Like, okay, so there was a comic book store that I love, and I cannot say why this particular one moved, but I will say that they very clearly moved partially in response to this, because they used to be in an area where they literally had to board up their windows for like over a year and a half.
And now they're in like
No, I don't say, okay?
Oh.
Just you can say like they're in a different area.
I was just gonna say that it's kind of obvious that they went from a better looking building to a less good building because they wanted to get out of that area.
And they're not getting robbed anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I remember them talking about getting broken into in a robbery once too.
I think that was the last straw for them.
Like during that. Well, yeah, because dude, you can't run. You know who can afford that? Walmart. You know who can afford that? Target.
Well, it's also unsafe because they're a small business and there's only like 3 workers there.
Well, but yeah, it's unsafe, but also, Jill, that's the thing is like, corporations can afford that, and they can afford to move.
Yeah.
Like, if you shut down a Target, okay, then you lose out. Target doesn't give 2 fucks about you.
They're fine.
Or your community. Like, no matter where you are. It sucks. I wish they did. But, I don't mean Target in particular, by the way. I mean any huge business. Like, they don't care if they have to move. The people who work there, they will lose their jobs.
Or
probably.
get transferred.
But they'll probably lose their jobs
Probably.
because, especially in a low-income area, they're not going to have the money to commute or drive or move. And then what ends up happening is they have no job, you have no Target or Walmart or whatever. Like those places like Walmart, Target, even Cub Foods here, you know, like we have a lot of that place where it's like our biggest, one of our biggest
Grocery stores?
Yeah. They can afford to leave. Like they can afford to move their business elsewhere, but you know who can't? Small businesses. They just end up...
Like small comic book shops.
A lot of them end up shutting down. So like after they got robbed, I think instead of chancing it and going bankrupt, they decided to just move. And I knew the guy who started that business. I went to school with his daughter.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy.
Very nice family. Everybody who works there is very nice and respectful.
They recognize us every time we come in.
Great people. And it truly like just hurts my soul how many people have just had their lives ruined by like misguided decisions and anger and stuff, you know?
But so that goes to your point where like, even though you and I are a little disenfranchised by the police, we still think that there needs to be police to help keep order and keep out crime.
Right, but they need to improve.
And they need to be good policemen. They can't just be shitty policemen who pull out their guns on everyone and everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do this.
They need to be better.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like obviously a very touchy subject, but it makes me sad that, you know.
Well, the reason the police were invented in the first place is because they were a needed asset to America. It's just they weren't supposed to become something so power hungry and narcissistic and evil.
Well, and the police have always had, you know, problems with that. I think like where even during like the Chicago mob issues, like it became a like police, like an arms war type thing.
Oh, weren't they getting paid off?
They were getting paid off, but also the other thing that was happening was they were basically getting better and better weapons, and then the mob would get better and better weapons, and they would basically be at war back and forth.
That's not good.
And so, like, the police have always had issues. I don't think anyone would argue they haven't. It's just, I think that they should always be getting better. I hate the idea that we can't improve.
Yeah.
Like,
instead of improving, we just have to get rid of the thing.
Yeah, like, we can't improve, and I think that's what I hate about our school system here and why so many of the kids
That one's devolved.
What do you mean?
Like, the school system's gotten worse since I've been in school.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I graduated, 5 years ago? 4 years ago?
Yeah, you're 22.
Yeah, I graduated in 2020, and it's 2024. So can you imagine, through those 4 years, it's gotten even worse in the school system?
Well, because discipline is out the window. Like, I know... My mom's retiring, and again, I can't tell any stories that like tell like where she is, because if I do, it could hurt her like retirement.
But some of the stories she's told us make me not want to send our kid to a public school.
Right.
And I don't know how we'd afford anything else, but
we wouldn't. Not on my income.
No, but like I don't know if I'd want them going to a public school.
I would want them open enrolling somewhere further away, because there's other schools in Minnesota that have way better. Way better discipline. But yeah, like, my mom was saying a kid literally hit her the other day.
Like attacked her.
And they didn't care.
No, and she was worried she was going to get in trouble because the kid ran into her, and you're not supposed to have any physical contact with children at all in that school.
Which, by the way, is bad for kids because I had to study this. They tell you in, like, teaching, they say that, like, when kids are younger or older, if you know that they're comfortable, sometimes even something like a nice pat on the back is reinforcing for kids.
And hugs. They need hugs. They need to feel loved and cared about, especially by the people in their life that they see as, like, authority figures. Because, like, if they don't have good parents at home that don't care about them, they need that kind of connection.
You mean that do care about them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That they need that kind of connection, at least from, like, a teacher or someone, to be able to, like, develop empathy and be able to develop correctly as a child to grow up into an adult.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. You're 100% right. I remember one time, though, my professor was telling us this, and I said, like, you can't touch kids anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I said that
If
to
you
him.
do that, you're a pedophile.
Well, especially if you're a man.
Yeah.
Like, I can't go up to some girl student and give her a pat on the back.
No.
She's gonna say I touched her.
No, I have this really nice boss at work, and he always gives, like, girls, like, pats on the shoulder and, like, says, oh, you're doing such a great job. And it made me sad at first because I thought for a second, oh, that's weird that he touched me. Oh, wait, he's just trying to be nice. And I felt bad that I even thought in the first place that he was being weird. You know, because it's, like, so drilled into our brains now. Like, it's weird if somebody touches you. And it shouldn't be like that. It should only be weird if they're, like, touching you inappropriately. It shouldn't be mean if somebody's giving you a pat on the back and saying, hey, good job.
Did you know Jesus Swanson reports a lot of crimes? He's like a firefighter who shows up and starts fires. I've seen that name several times. It's like, whoa, the fire started 10 seconds ago? I just happened to be here.
He's starting the crime.
He's like, I need to report. And he's looking right at his victim. A murder. And they're like, ah!
And, you know, then I thought about it a little bit more, too. I thought, you know, if he was a woman, I probably wouldn't have ever thought it was weird that he touched me on the back.
Oh, this happened to me, too. There was a woman who acted very motherly to me at one of my jobs. She was just very sweet. And she tried to look out for me. And I will always appreciate that. She was a little judgmental of a person, but not towards me, towards other people. But she treated...
Until the end of the story.
What do you mean?
Isn't this the woman that, like, got judgmental with you because you talked to a girl and were just nice to her?
No.
Oh, this isn't that story?
No, this isn't when I was teaching at a school.
Oh,
This was a different place. No, although... Oh, hey, let's grab this. Although when I was teaching at a school, I got accused of hitting on a girl that I was just being nice to.
Yeah, you were just being friendly.
Who was a girl who was a senior.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, was 18, so technically even if I was, that's legal. But I wasn't. But, like, I remember the one teacher acted like I was, like, gonna get accused of pedophilia. And I was like, I'm just being nice.
And
like,
weren't you in your early 20s?
Early 20s, she was 18.
Yeah.
And I was just being nice to her.
First of all, that's not that weird even if you did hit on her.
Well, it's abuse of a position of power, though, if you're a teacher. But the thing is,
And second of all, you were just being a nice person.
it was very obvious that I was just being friendly to someone I worked with, because this person was a teacher's aide.
Yeah.
Which, like, I thought I just picked up a spider. Did it not register?
I don't know.
It just gave me tech... Oh, no. I'm stupid. I picked up tech parts.
Oh, you're silly.
But that's my problem. That's actually... That was one of the driving forces that made me uncomfortable being a teacher, was that experience.
Yeah, because you felt like if you were going to be nice to other girls, especially if you became a high school teacher, that you just would get accused of something like that even if you didn't do it.
Yes. Will you say anything?
You know how to rock a scarf.
That's
I know
awesome.
how to rock a scarf.
And that's why your mom...
Anya!
Oh, look at
wait,
her
she's got her hair.
That's awesome.
I like this. They don't reference Anya too often. She's in the comics. I remember...
She's cute.
She is cool. She's really cool.
I like her. We should get some comics of her.
Yeah, you know, it's too hard to find, like, the Spider Women and the Spider Girls and stuff to find good covers of them. Mm-hmm. Because they're too niche.
They put the mediocre artists on that one.
It sure seems like a lot. I don't know. That was an experience, though, that made me very uncomfortable with being a teacher. Like, I was just like, I'd rather just not.
That's why your mom was afraid of being accused of hurting that kid, even though he's the one that hurt her. Because, like, when these kids lie, they believe them. But then when I said something when I was a kid about stuff that happened to me, nobody believed me.
That's why I say that I think it depends on the state. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it depends on where you are, what state you're in, you know, what city you're in, probably. Because I remember that city where you were, when we called the police from the other city, they said, don't even bother with them.
Yeah.
They are useless.
If
They
you
said
need
that-
something, call us.
They said that about the other police precinct.
Yeah.
Like because there's only one precinct in the town you were in, and then we called the police in Portland.
It's basically like a neighboring town.
Portland, Maine. And they were very helpful, very nice, and they basically said just don't bother with them. They're worthless.
Should look around.
And that's going to sound fake, but they really said that.
Yeah.
They just said they are not helpful. And the guy, I don't know if the cop was supposed to tell me this, he said, like, when we've needed help, they're not helpful to us either.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he said that to me. You were very upset at the time, so I could
I kind of blocked some of that out.
imagine you would forget some.
However, I do
Who
remember
else is at this base?
it was one of those nights when Taylor Swift put out Love Story, Taylor's version, and we listened to it together on the couch in the hotel, and it made me happy because I always loved that song, and it made me happy that it came out on one of the days that we were spending time together.
I'm glad it made you so happy.
And then we had that song play at our wedding.
Good.
It
I'm glad it made you so happy.
made me very happy.